Hello there, Ray here, and today I will be showing a collection of all the blocks with different dimensions in the game. Whenever I am building something, there is always a point where I'm looking for a certain block type to do a specific task. Most of the time when I'm working with entities, I'm looking to hold or move the entity with a block. When trying to fit entity hitboxes with block collision boxes, it can be difficult. So that's why I made this collection of all the blocks in the game with different dimensions to help me visualize what block types I have to work with. After seeing a post on Reddit where someone was asking for a list of all the blocks with different heights in the game, I decided that others might find this collection of block types to be helpful in their builds as well. This collection is made for 1.9 and above versions. This is because prior to 1.9 there were many block variations in the game. Most were removed when they went from using individual block models to using the block state attributes to put together the blocks. There are three different categories that I have made a collection of. The first one is here a collection of all the blocks with different heights in the game, starting from lowest going to highest. And it starts out here at a block. And then the first one is a carpet, and the next one is a lily pad on water. Then we have a repeater, and also have a brewing stand, the bottom piece, and 2 layers of snow. Then we have a trapdoor. Then the next layer up is a piston head facing downward, just the bottom piece of the piston head. We got 3 layers of snow. Then we have the very top of a piston arm, which slightly sticks into the next block layer. And then we have the inside of a cauldron, which is all by himself. Then next up we have a daylight sensor and 4 layers of snow and a flower pot. Then we have a bottom slab, a skull head, a cake, 5 layers of snow, as well as a 1.5 meter tall block. And then we have the bed by himself. Then we have the inside of a hopper, which is the same as 6 layers of snow, same as a piston arm standing on that, and as well as an end rod on its side. Then we have enchanted table, a skull placed on a block beside it. Then we have a piston base facing upward with the piston arm removed. Then we have the top of a cocoa bean here. Then we have 7 layers of snow, and the next layer up we have a end portal frame without the eye of ender. And then we have a chorus stem here. And then we have the 2 chests, soul sand, the top of a brewing stand, and 8 layers of snow. Then we have a cactus, and the same as the cactus is a path block. Then we reach back up to a full meter tall block, and a eye of ender in the frame is also 1 meter tall. So in total of the blocks with different heights, there is 15 different block types in this category, not including the 1.5 meter blocks at the very end. So the next category of blocks that I have made a collection of is all the blocks with a different width in the game. So we start out here at a full block, and then next up we have the chest with cactuses, and then we also got dragon egg, a full cake on the chest, and we also got a cocoa bean that is turned towards the block that's supposed to be here. And then the next up is a anvil. And then next is a chorus stem, as well as a cake that has 1 bite taken out of it. Then we have a skull placed on a wall on the side, is this dimension. Then we have a piston base with the arm removed against, and that's the same as a cobble wall that is the thicker type of the cobble wall. Then next up we have a cocoa bean on the side. Then we have a cake with 2 bites taken out. Then we have a cobble wall, and then we have the eye of ender. If you pressed up against this eye of ender, it'd be the same. And then next up we have a end rod, is the same as a fence here, which is the same as a fence gate, which is the same as a piston arm. Then we have a small cocoa bean on the side, and then another piston arm just turned a different direction. And then next up is the iron bars, the glass pane, the inside of the brewing stand, and as well as a cake with 3 bites taken out. And then we have a skull placed on a wall facing forward, and then we also have the stairs which are half a block inward. And then next is a cocoa bean facing away from the player. And then we have a cake with 4 bites sticking out. Then we have a small cocoa bean up against a block. And then we have 5 bites sticking out of a cake. And the next is the piston arm, this little piece that sticks out. And it's the same as this here, so this is the same amount. And then next is a trapdoor, and then a cake with only 1 slice left, or 6 bites sticking out. And then last is a ladder. So in total of blocks that have different widths in the game, there is 14 different blocks that have different widths in the game. So the last category that I've made a collection of is all the blocks with a different height if you come from below them and then you press up against them. So we start out here at a full block, then we come to a chorus stem, then we come to a piston base facing downward without a arm, and that's the same as a skull, which is on a wall. Then we have a large cocoa bean. Then we have a piston arm facing sideways. Then we have a small cocoa bean. Then we have a top slab. Then we have a piston arm facing upward. It's same as a piston head. And then we also have a trapdoor as the last one. So in total here there are 9 different blocks in this category. All these blocks I have shown are possible to acquire in survival, even though some of the blocks do need special properties to be able to be placed in such as cakes that only work in one direction. I believe I have all the different types of blocks that go into these 3 different categories in the game, but if you think that there is a block type that I have missed or overlooked that should go into one of these categories, please tell me in the comments and then I will add it to this collection of mine. I did not include the actual dimensions in meters of all the different blocks, so if someone would want to make a chart with all the different dimensions in meters, I'm sure that would be helpful to somebody. The different heights in which a player could stand or an entity could stand could actually be increased by using a boat. So if a player stands on a boat, it will increase his Y by 0.5625, and this can be used to place the boat on top of another block, which would increase the height to a different number than just by using blocks alone or by using the boat alone. A good example of using blocks to hold entities, such as I was talking about earlier, is this boat here. Here you can see I have encased a boat, and this is perfectly encased in between these 2 chorus stems, a end rod, and a solid block here. This boat cannot be moved in any direction, although it appears to turn and stuff, but the actual hitbox here cannot be moved at all. So that's just one example of how you can use blocks to hold entities in place. So another thing that I did not include in my collection is all the different variations that you can get if an entity is riding another entity, or if the entity riding an entity is riding a block, or if an entity is riding an entity is riding a block. And you can see that there is many different variations that you could get out of this. Another thing that I did not include into my collection of blocks over there is something that Myron Irio has shown, which is blocks that are moving can have a different collision box than those that are in place. So these rails here have no collision box, so I'm able to jump up on top of them. But if I have these rails moving, then the player is not able to jump up on top of the rails because the rails actually acquire a new collision box. There is a world download in the description so that you can check out all these different types of blocks if you want to. There you have it, guys, a collection of all the blocks in the game with different dimensions. If you found this interesting, show me with a like. If you'd like to see more content like this, subscribe, and don't forget to comment. Bye-bye!